It just stressed me out by even talking about it.
COVID hitting, price increase, having a baby. Right? And welcome back to our channel. I'm Roddy.
I'm Landy.
And in our channel, we discover ways to retire early through real estate and also a little bit about our living abroad. Today's topic is 5 reasons why people leave the US, but more specifically, 5 reasons why we left the US. For us, number one, the whole thing that started it off was me wanting to quit my job. As I mentioned before, I was a teacher for almost 20 years back in Texas. And then COVID struck in 2020 and things began to change. I still liked being in the classroom, but a lot of things were happening with administrations and things coming down the line, and a lot of changes and less accountability for students that I really didn't make me happy. And I actually kind of began to feel a little bit physically ill, even going to work, which was the first time that ever happened to me in all my years teaching. So that was one of the first reasons why we decided to leave. I felt sick, talked to Landy, said, hey, let's get out of here. And from there, we kind of went on. Reason number two.
Reason number two, the cost of living. Yeah, because I'm the one taking care of the monthly budgeting, living cost. And I just see the numbers doesn't make sense to me, especially after we having a newborn. All the insurance increased as we want to give the newborn the best insurance so we don't have the payments. So it's 100% covered. As we know, first year that always some illness, anything could happen in the first year. And the medical cost is way high in the United States. So we increased the insurance and of course the baby cost. And I just had a C-section, so all these medical bills, and plus the COVID hits, and every time Rod went to the supermarkets, and we feel it's also the price goes higher, and not so many choices, and plus we own a house. All the house maintenance, it's just stress me out.
Yeah.
For example, our dishwasher was kind of broken, doesn't work. So we found a local handyman, which supposed to be a more reasonable price. But came out, Rod told me he paid him $250 just to go through the fixing the dishwasher. And plus our electricity bills, especially winter time, it's super high because of some insulation issues. And it just stressed me out by even talking about it. So I just look at the number, doesn't make sense. So much stress.
Right. And so I think all that stress kind of led to reason number three, which was the idea of retiring earlier. We had always talked about retiring early, again, through real estate. We were starting to kind of build our portfolio. But again, because of reason number one, me not feeling well about my job, the increase in spending kind of led to the idea of retiring earlier. And again, this went through, or I guess the first thing was when I came and told you that I wanted to stop working. And again, what could we do? How can we retire earlier, right? So what are some of the options that we looked at? And of course, one of the first things we talked about was moving abroad. And I think this idea came was because we actually like to watch some TV shows, right, on HGTV, like a lot of people do. And one of them was the House Hunter Internationals. Again, and you showed me that. And what did you think about that, the series?
Oh yeah, that's the channel we've been loved to watching, and we found this channel. They were showing the couples of families, single person. They just move abroad, and we've been watching around like which country can have a good quality of living, but the living cost is still much lower than the U.S. And one thing surprised me is in Mexico, normally we heard is just crime, drug dealing, and not safe, a poor living life standard. Until we saw in the video, it just changed my vision of how I think about Mexico in the past. It's just so modern. The cost of living is much lower, and the life quality is good. The old town, all the walkable, all the facilities. They even have the big shopping malls, and those beaches are so stunning. And since we've been to Cancun and we also been to Cozumel through the cruise boats, and we also travel to Mexico City. So plus everything, I already loved Mexico a lot. So that's how we made the decision. Like, hey, we could think out of the box. We could live abroad to lower the cost of living, but have a better, stressless life, increase our life quality, and that's why we made the move.
Yeah. So, we made the move to Mexico, and again, as Landy mentioned, one of the reasons in there was because we wanted less stress, which is reason number 4 why we left the U.S. As we mentioned, everything before number 4 was this kind of increasing to our life stress. Again, COVID hitting, price increase, having a baby, right? Again, these are all things that kind of lead to more stress in your life. And at the same time, wanting to enjoy life more and being with the baby more, as he grew up. So we had this idea of we want less stress, so let's move abroad. Let's have a good quality of life, but can bring our spending down. And I think so far up to this point, it's kind of been what we expected. Of course, it has its moments where things kind of peak and there's a little bit our stressful moments. And again, that's natural for anybody in any family. But I think overall, I think our stress has definitely been reduced living here in Mexico.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and we've been hustle and bustle in Houston real estate market
Yeah.
for years, about at least 5
Yeah,
years
close to 5 years.
since we got it started. And we've been flipping, we've been taking care of the tenants, lease, all the all the stress. And of course, people around us, they were on Facebook every day, post how big the deal they make, how big the checks they make,
Yeah.
and how big their goal is, how many deals they make that year. And I always feel we are always who we are, and I can feel in my personality what I want. I don't want to follow others. Other people want 100 houses, but doesn't mean I want to first 100 houses.
Right.
And I like to think out of the box. So I want a stressless life. Of course, we still like to do business, work, and we still buy houses, but I want to calm down a little bit.
Right, on a much lower and
lower
and slower level.
slower level. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't need to compete with another 100 investors in Texas or United States.
Right. And then again, that brings us to our 5th reason, right? And the 5th reason is that in Houston, where we were living before here, the crime rate was increasing kind of constantly, and it felt a little bit more unsafe in Houston. Even had a couple of experiences myself, that I won't get into. But yeah, and going back to what Landy said, there's always that kind of idea where Mexico is very dangerous and there's all these things happening. But that's kind of how we felt in Houston, right back in our home city. So with that happening again, and just having the family, having the baby, everything just kind of felt like the right time that it was almost time to get up and relocate.
Right.
Yeah.
And we heard that the city we moved to is the top 1 or top 2 safest city in Mexico, and that make me feel very comfortable, especially with a newborn.
Right. Yeah. Querétaro so far has been, or at least felt very safe. As long as we've been here, we lived in the Centro. Again, now we do live a little bit further out, more in the suburb of Zakia. But like I said, yeah, everything so far has felt very, very safe. No matter where we go, time of night, time of day, everything feels very, very safe here for sure.
Right.
So those are our top 5 reasons of why we left the U.S. Again, we'd like to hear your thoughts and give us some comments as far as why you like staying in the U.S. or why you would possibly leave the U.S. yourself to go live abroad. Let us know what you think. Give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Right? And
Right.
see you next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.